When Batman vs. Superman and Captain America Civil War were both announced, everybody immediately started thinking that this is it. These two movies are going to kick off who will win the battle between the two companies, DC and Marvel. But some people could argue that to no avail, Marvel won, or did they? Superhero movies have been a huge thing ever since around the 2000s when Batman Begins and Iron Man came out. Ever since then, we have not seen a superhero movie that is as dark and gritty as Batman vs. Superman. Marvel usually goes for the light tone style for their films, and recently DC tried a darker tone for Batman vs. Superman. I feel that's why people hated the movie, because it was dark, and not just dark, it was darker than Marvel. So, you see, Marvel has been dominating the movie business for years with their style of light tone, humorous movies. So, this is what people are, toned to. This is what they kind of want to see. But DC is a different company, so they're not going to copy Marvel. That wouldn't make any sense. So, when Batman vs. Superman came out, people didn't like it because Civil War was also coming out in the same year, and they had something to compare it to, and it wasn't like that one. Let's look at some of the small facts from both movies for a second. Batman vs. Superman is, about Batman vs. Superman. But not just the literal fighting. It was also about the two superheroes' aliases fighting as well. Like Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne, and just how they struggled throughout the movie, and how, Bruce Wayne dealt with the Metropolis attack, and how Clark dealt with all the problems of being hated around the world, and hated by some, loved by others. I think people really didn't notice that aspect too much. But that aspect was shown throughout the whole movie, so that means they stayed true to the title. On the other hand, so in Batman vs. Superman, both sides of them are fighting. Clark Kent was fighting, Bruce Wayne was fighting, Superman was fighting, Batman was fighting. You get the idea. But with Civil War, Civil War is based around the aspect of a certain contract that all Avengers must sign to be put in check and be responsible for all their actions, which that was part of the movie. I'm not going to lie. There was the Sokovia Accords they were supposed to sign, and then they would be pretty much part of the government, so then the government could assign them to missions instead of them assigning missions to themselves. But that wasn't even a civil war. It was more like a civil argument. Because if you watch the movie, it was more arguing than anything. As they were trying to find Bucky, they would argue back and forth on what they were supposed to do. And Tony would argue with Steve, and he would say this is the right thing to do. And it was more of an argument until the end, the last scene, the last 10-ish minutes when they fought. It was a really cool battle, and I really loved it, but it wasn't worth the movie ticket alone, because I'm not saying it was a bad movie. I actually really liked the movie, but it was almost a misleading title, because Civil War, like I said, was a huge event in the comics where the Marvel Universe heroes were split in half. They were fighting each other. It was this huge dramatic thing. People were dying. It was huge. And then when they put this title in the movie, I thought that was going to happen. But it was more of a civil argument, like I said. So it was just weird how they planned out that movie. And I'm not saying that movie did perfect in the box office, because it did do really, really well. But of course, just like any other movie, it has its ups and downs and critics. If you end up going to see Suicide Squad this weekend, please try to give it a chance, and if you do, tell me how you thought it was. I am going to see it this weekend, and I'm going to upload a review, me and my brother, So wait for that over the weekend. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.